You know, if you told me we'd be getting Danganronpa 4 in the year of our Lord 2024, I think I would have said something like, oh, yeah, along with Ace Attorney 8. But here we are. And while, yes, obviously, the 100-line Last Defense Academy is not actually Danganronpa 4, who are we kidding? Look at this! They're clearly trying to appeal to the same audience with these similarities, including but not limited to a small mascot with a black, white, and red color scheme, 16 students trapped in an academy and forced to participate in an activity that puts their lives at risk, a 2.5D art style, and just the footage speaks for itself. Say what you will about Raincode kind of using the Danganronpa style, at least the similarities were only visual. So, what is this game then? The 100-line Last Defense Academy was announced at the June 2024 Nintendo Direct, and, as you can see, I had an absolutely riveting reaction to the reveal. It's a collaboration between Kazutaka Kodaka and Kotaro Uchikoshi, the creators of the Danganronpa and Zero Escape series, respectively. Side note, I do think it's funny that the main character of 100 Lines' name is Takumi, the same name as the creator of Ace Attorney, as these three franchises are often associated with each other for their death games, mysteries, and murder-solving plots. Observe the following Venn diagram. But regardless, this collaboration makes a lot of sense. It's no secret that Kodaka and Uchikoshi are buddies, and there's been word of them making a game together for a while now. Kodaka claims in an interview that development for 100 Line began in 2017. They initially intended to release the game via a major publisher, but things didn't work out and the project was cancelled. They eventually decided to revive the game, but realized that with the scale they wanted it to be, they would need to borrow money in order to create it. They also received support from studios such as Aniplex, Mediavision, and Jet Studios. Kodaka claims to be handling the direction, scenario, production, script, and management. Direction and scenario work is also being shared with Uchikoshi. And while he says that this game is unrelated to Danganronpa, it does embody the game's spirit. Now that we finally get to see what it's all about, what exactly are we going to get in this game? The synopsis for the story is listed on the Steam page, and I think it would be most efficient for me to just do a brief, dramatic reading of it. Takumi Sumino is a totally average teenager living in the Tokyo residential complex, a place where every day is much like the last and nothing bad ever happens. All that changes when freakish monsters attack the town and start wreaking havoc. A strange creature calling himself Sarai appears and offers Takumi the power to protect those he holds dear. All he has to do is stab himself in the chest. The next thing he knows, Takumi is in Last Defense Academy, a school in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by a wall of otherworldly flames. He and 14 other students have been drafted into the Special Defense Unit, a team tasked with keeping the school safe for the next 100 days. How much are they willing to sacrifice to take back their normal lives and save the world from the grotesque school invaders? The curtain rises on 100 days of war and despair. The game loop apparently consists of an adventure phase, exploration phase, and RPG phase. The time frame is 100 days, and the free time and daily events allow us to upgrade our skills. Does this sound familiar? The RPG phase was described as having tower defense elements, as I initially observed in the announcement trailer. The tower you're defending is, obviously, the Academy, and Kodaka said that the students of Last Defense Academy possess a power called Gakur Yoko that lets them transform into uniformed warriors in order to fight the game's enemies. These enemies are called Shinkosei, and we have no idea why they are attacking the Academy. Said Academy is protected by something called Eternal Flames, and we have to fight off any enemies that manage to get through it. Speaking of the non-humans, this Sarai creature is the mascot character for the game. I know I compared his color scheme to Monokuma earlier, but This thing looks so much like Shinigami that I genuinely thought this game was a sequel to Raincode. Wait, Raincode?
School mascot suddenly
Raincode?
appears.
Oh my god, slow down!
Takumi manages to get
I
out
didn't
of
even
harm's
realize
way.
this was Raincode.
He's
Is this
then forced
Raincode?
to enroll at the last defense.
I could make fun of the character design, and I will. Sorry for the upcoming ramble, but please. We've got not Maki Harukawa, not Peko Pekoyama, not Anji Yonaga, not Taichi Fujisaki, and not Rintaro Ida. Okay, I am exaggerating. Mostly. If you like these designs, more power to you, but boy do they not do it for me personally. Each student also has a unique special subject reflected in their design. But remember guys, it's not Danganronpa, we promise. So yeah, that's the gist of the game itself. We don't have a ton of information yet, but enough to at least get some picture of what this thing is. And what do I think? Well, while there are good aspects, I have concerns. Let me get this out of the way first. Do I think 100 Line looks like a bad game? No. Do I think 100 Line, from what I've seen so far, looks disappointing to me and what I enjoy in games? Yes. Let me explain. Despite its many, many faults, I like Danganronpa, if the back half of my name wasn't proof enough. I like the premise, I like some of the characters, I like the presentation, I like the mystery. And while 100 Line does claim to be a mystery, with secrets surrounding the monsters in the school, my concern is that it isn't a mystery game. The key worry I have in that regard is the gameplay. Danganronpa's gameplay focused around solving actual cases, gathering clues, and putting it all together in the class trials. Zero Escape's gameplay is less mystery-oriented, but you do still go around the escape rooms and gather items to solve the puzzles. Kodaka did say that 100 Line will be accommodating for people who don't usually play those kind of games, but the problem for me isn't difficulty. It's that on a fundamental level, I don't enjoy this type of gameplay nearly as much as actually solving puzzles or mysteries. This is an RPG. And while I have nothing against RPGs, I do have concerns about how it's going to work with this kind of story. And story is something that I really value in games. Something I didn't mention until now is that this game is advertised as having not only 100 days, but 100 endings, which means there is no feasible way that most of them have much depth. My guess is that it'll depend on which characters live and die, sort of like Fire Emblem, where if someone dies in battle, that's it. They're dead. Both Kodaka and Uchikoshi are also known for their absurd twists. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I can't speak on if this one will be any different, but it's my opinion that these two together are either going to feed into their best traits and produce just a peak story, or their worst traits, and it's going to be like Zero Time Dilemma meets V3's ending. My biggest concern, though, is the obvious comparisons to Danganronpa. As anyone with eyes can see, they're clearly trying to appeal to fans of that series. But this isn't Danganronpa on a fundamental level, and I worry that this method is going to create false expectations for a game that may be stronger if they had just allowed it to be its own thing. Seriously, between the art style, the 3D models, and how close this thing looks to Shinigami, my first reaction was genuinely that this was a Raincode sequel. And I don't really know if the first reaction someone has to your new IP should be thinking that it's a different game. I'm ragging on this game a lot, I know, but that doesn't mean that I want it to be bad or even that I think it will be. I'm just voicing some concerns I have based on the information that we have so far. 100 Line is scheduled to come out in early 2025 for the Nintendo Switch and on Steam. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it, and I want to hear what other people think, so let me know in the comments. Are you excited? Nervous? Both? Either way, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.